Hey guys, Stealth here. It's Monday, which means it's another War Room coming up. Now, I already hinted at it last week. Some major life changes for me, and that actually materialized. I am now engaged. Yeah, it's weird to say that, I gotta tell you that much. So far I've been with my girlfriend for 10 years, which, gotta say at my age, which is 27 currently, that's pretty damn long. And we were celebrating our 10-year anniversary last Wednesday, at which stage, I decided to ask her to marry me, and she said yes. So I'm now engaged, which is just as weird as it sounds, or at least it's weird to ask someone to marry you. It's weird to have to tell people that you're now engaged. It's weird all the decisions that are going to have to be made after this. And yeah, about that second part, we make decisions in Wargame every day and pretty much all day. The only thing you do in Wargame is make decisions, and lots and lots and lots of them. Where do I park my units? How do I maneuver this unit? How do I use it? Where's the biggest threat coming from? Is my AA okay? You're constantly checking everything. In planning a wedding, this seems to be a skill that I might be going to need pretty bad. No, I'm not comparing getting married to Wargame right now, but I think they have at least a bit of the same skill set. Who, where, what, how, when, etc. Of course, it's a bit different, and as well it should, but it is definitely going to be making a whole lot of decisions. So, that's the big news for this week. And yeah, I'm still trying to, I'm telling my family, I'm telling friends. First part was getting my parents to know, and getting her parents to know about it. And no, don't mean getting to know her parents, but that part's now over, and we're now, let's say, telling tier 2, tier 3 people, so friends, attached family, stuff like that. And of course you guys, because I feel that it's a major event for me, which means that you should also be aware of it. Anyway, as far as other news goes, another pretty major event, at least for me and my channel, is that I just reached 5,000 subscribers. Bloody hell, 5,000? That's not something I had expected. At least not when I started this channel back in August 2014, which by now seems like a long time ago. But it's only really, 16, 17 months by now? So I managed to get a lot of subscribers in that time frame. And I wanted to thank each and every one of you for joining my channel, listening to my Wargame videos, watching what I do, providing your feedback on how to make the videos better, how to get better Wargames, how to improve at Wargame, and all of you who have helped me make this channel bigger. And of course I will continue to do so. I'll continue to cover Wargame. We got the new XCOM coming up in about 2 weeks' time, so there's plenty of new material to be coming out. And of course with Armored Warfare there are definitely some nice games that I can cover. Now, talking about Armored Warfare seems to be in a bit of a weird place right now. On the one hand, it's a game that still dedicates, or that still labels itself as unfinished, still as a beta game. At the same time, you can play it, and most people do. You can spend money on it, which some people do. So I'm pretty much checking, okay, what exactly is this? And not too many people seem to be sure about exactly what it is. And especially from what I'm reading on the Reddit, the North American server seems to be struggling with this. There are not too many people playing the game, which means that if you are going to do PvP, then you're going to be in the queue for quite a while, which of course is not what you want to see. You want to click the battle button, and then you're going to go into a game. You don't want to have, let's say, another lobby simulator like we have in Warhammer Dragon, where you can just sit and wait for up to 10 minutes before you get a game. So On the one hand, we have we have Armored Warfare that is being played by people. On the other hand, we have Wargame that is not getting enough new people. And of course, if you have people who have to spend a lot of time in the waiting room or in the queue without getting a match, and let's say that lasts for 5 minutes, then they're just gonna say, well, yeah, well, screw it, sorry, I'm not playing this. If enough people keep doing that, you're gonna get a vicious downward cycle where people start abandoning the game altogether. So with that, I'm not sure if the game is going to be going on for... I'm not going to say it's dying out, but it is in a state of distress. And Obsidian seems to know about this. They seem to be aware of it, and they are saying that there's going to be stuff changing. But so far, I haven't seen it yet. So maybe we're going to see some new vehicles coming out. I know they're working on that. Maybe we're going to see some new maps coming out, because the maps that we do have, well, let's face it, there just aren't that many of them. And most people right now seem to be holed up in PvE, and the same goes for me. I don't play PvP that much, because PvE grinding is just faster. It does not involve waiting for 5 minutes, and you don't have the problem of getting people to constantly scream and shout at you and having a sort of imbalance at the higher tiers, which right now seems to be the case. That's why I play my Challenger 2, which previously I was not, well, so let's say I was sort of flaming it, because it wasn't that good, or not as good as I'd expected. That unit now in PvE is a very, very dangerous tank. And something like that is really enjoyable for me in PvE, but in PvP, not so much. So I think that one way to go forward for Armored Warfare would be to heavily advertise on its PvE content, because that's the thing that sets it apart from World of Tanks and War Thunder. Those elements are something that those games just don't have. And of course, the content itself with the modern vehicles is different. But we'll see about what's going to happen. Unfortunately, I know just about as much as you do. I don't have any special contact with the developer. I am trying to get in touch with them to get a press account, but they still haven't gotten back to me on that, so I still cannot review all the vehicles that I would like to review, unfortunately. But I'm slowly trying to get my claws into the game, keep grinding, keep getting new vehicles, and keep unlocking new stuff, so that I can review those for you on the channel. Aside from that, last week I also mentioned that on Wargame I asked the developer, I think it was Matt, one of the moderators for the forums, whether there's any kind of news for the new Wargame. And there too, I have not heard back, not a whisper. So either they're just ignoring my message, they're keeping their mouth shut, or I don't know, maybe he didn't see it. There's all sorts of different explanations, but unfortunately I have nothing really news in that arena. As far as my personal predictions, I don't think that there's going to be a new Wargame, not this year. Otherwise they would have probably advertised it. Let's say that we compare it to Active Aggression, or that we compare it to Wargame Red Dragon coming out. That is something that was pretty heavily advertised, or they were building up towards it. That's usually how games work, of course. You have multiple platforms, let's say, on which they are slowly starting to advertise. And I remember at least a year ago, I think, watching a interview with, I think it was Raptor, and one of the guys from Eugen. Raptor got to ask a lot of stuff about the new game. And there just does not seem to be anything like that going on currently. So, they might be supporting Wargame, they might be supporting, let's say, what was it again, Active Aggression. They might be working on a new Wargame. I don't know. And unfortunately, right now, I don't really have a way of finding out. The moment, of course, that I hear new stuff about that, I will definitely let you know on the channel. Other than that, I found a very, very interesting video from SpaceX this week. If you're not familiar with SpaceX, it's the company from Elon Musk who focuses on, let's say, commercial spaceflight. and especially on reusable rocket design. Now, what the hell is reusable rocket design? If you have a satellite that you want to launch today, the way to do it is to send it up into space, and it works with staging. You have not one big rocket that's going to force it up into an orbit, but you have several smaller ones that as soon as they're empty, they're going to get dropped off. Now, usually those drop-offs, and I suppose you could distantly compare them to a drop pod from, let's say, an F-16 or an F-18 for increased range, except that these drop pods actually have an engine attached to them. Those are usually no longer usable by the time that they come back. They're just dropped off over the ocean to make sure that they don't get in anyone's way, and they're not reused. Not so much for the Falcon 9 that SpaceX has been developing. This is a rocket booster that works its way down. It can assist in getting the target into orbit and then land back onto the planet. I believe autonomously. I'm not too sure how much human control is involved, but it seemed to be pretty much autonomous. And I thought that was a very, very impressive feat of engineering. So I have a link to the video on how that works and on the successful, let's say, launch and return of the vehicle. So if you want to have a look at that, links in the description. Now, aside from those points, I didn't really have anything for this week's War Room, so I could just sit here and talk about much about nothing. But I think it would be much better to spend both your time and my time on getting actual video content out. So that's what I'll be doing. Hope you enjoyed this week's. It's a bit brief, but so be it. Next week I'll probably have more news and more stuff to talk about. Until then, hope you have a good week, and I'll be seeing you in the other videos. Thanks guys, see you next time.